Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. So, we're going to continue further down the line. We have treatment discharge planning. So I mentioned before that the only time I ever had to discharge a client was if their insurance was no longer taken or their insurance wasn't, changed and they couldn't afford services at our facility. That was like pretty much the only time. I think one time I had to document that somebody was transferring like from our therapy program into a work unit coordination program. And again, that was a money reason. So anytime somebody gets terminated from a program, it's usually because of money. Like, I'm just going to throw that out there. Let's see what the AMT says. AMTA, let's see what their reasoning is. So, assess potential benefits and determinants of termination, develop and implement a music therapy plan, integrate music therapy termination, form and prepare the client, establish closure of music therapy services. Okay. So we have termination and discharge plan. All right, so we have, yes, for sure, you want to assess benefits of termination. And then you want to, of course, document termination plan. So when you document the termination plan, you want to talk about what they excelled at. Did they really like singing activities? Did they really like art music activities? Did they not like music at all? Is that why you're discharging them? Did their insurance change? But this is what they like, just in case you were curious. I know they're not going to be participating in music anymore, but this is what they liked. You want to document all of that. You want to prepare the client for termination. Every client is going to be different, so you want to prepare them as best you can. I mean, the best way is tell them the truth. Like, your insurance, okay, if you tell them, like, your insurance changed, they probably heard that their insurance changed from everybody. Like, they probably heard it from the doctor, the caseworker, their family. They probably heard it from everybody. So you can say, hey, your insurance plan changed. You can no longer pay for the session. Like, you can say that to a client because they probably have heard it from everybody else in their little scope. If you're leaving for some reason, like you're taking another job and that's why you're terminating therapy and you're transitioning them, that's always the best one, because then you can say, oh, music isn't going to go away. I'm just leaving, I always tell my students to say that when they come for practicum or internship. I always tell them to say, oh, I'm going back to school, but you're still going to have a session. You're still going to have music. In terms of when to tell them, I would say between 2 to 3 weeks before you leave, because you don't want to tell them a month ahead, because then they'll start to get depressed, and then you don't want to tell them the week of. So you want to tell them like 2 weeks before you actually leave and terminate. And then you want to prepare the client and establish closure. I think this is on the exam too, where you come up with a list of other ways they can get involved in music therapy. In the community, maybe join a choir, stuff like that. So anyway, next one, professional roles and ethics. So on the exam, you have to remember that like this exam is for undergrads and graduate students. So when I was taking it, there were so many questions on like how to supervise a student, which was kind of funny because I was working at a facility and my supervisor didn't think I was ready to supervise. And I was literally like, my music therapy exam had like 50 questions on it about supervision. I think I'm ready. Don't say that to your supervisors. But anyway, that's important to know that like majority of my exam was on how to be a good supervisor. And I was like, why is this on my exam? Like, I'm an undergrad. I'm not thinking about being a supervisor just yet. But hey, it happened. Happened sooner than I expected it to happen. So, professional role and ethics. Interpret and adhere to the AMTA Code of Ethics. I'm sure everybody took a class on that. Adhere to our clinical practice, which is what we're already doing. Demonstrate dependability through education and professional training. Accept criticisms and feedback. Resolve conflict. Meet deadlines. Express your thoughts and personal connection. Demonstrate crucial self-awareness. Demonstrate knowledge and respect. Treat all persons with dignity. Demonstrate skills in working with cultural diverse populations. Adhere to all laws and regulations. Demonstrate the ability to locate information. Demonstrate basic knowledge of music therapy organizations. Demonstrate basic knowledge of service reimbursements, and adhere to clinical and ethical standards of law. Okay, so here we go. Professional role / ethics. This was always a struggle for me, I'll be perfectly honest, because in majority of the places I worked for when I first got initially hired as a music therapist, none of them treated me in an ethical manner. Like, none of them treated music therapists, art therapists, creative arts. Nobody treated them with ethics. So I was like, well, you won't treat me with ethics. I don't want to treat you with ethics. But that is not the right approach. So we're going to go through what they say here. So it says demonstrate dependability through education and professional training. That's like super easy, right? So you want to make sure you're dependable in education and training. I mean, most music therapists are go-getters, so like I don't see that being an issue. Then we have accept criticism and feedback. That's very difficult, especially if you're the only music therapist. So make sure that you reach out. I'm going to put that in my notes. Reach out and gain feedback from other music therapists. Resolve conflicts in a positive manner. Meet deadlines. No duh. Express thoughts and personal feelings. I would say keep communication open with higher ups. Demonstrate self-awareness. Okay, so no duh. Understand your personal strengths and weaknesses. Then we have know different diverse cultures. So treat people equally regardless of differences. Then we have listen to all laws and regulations, especially HIPAA. Then we have no basic knowledge of professional music therapy. Oh, here we go. So follow ethical standards and laws in terms of technology. So make sure you don't like not follow HIPAA when you use technology. Make sure like you delete the cloud isn't on. Google Drive isn't on. It's not going to upload the photos automatically. Then we want to locate all public music therapy information. It's always best to go to the library for that kind of stuff. I know the library, well, it's down the street from my house, and then it's down the street from where I work. So it's always easy to get that access. And then last but not least, demonstrate basic knowledge of music therapy services, reimbursement, and financial sources. So that's something that is not taught. I don't think it's on the exam either, but like it's extremely, extremely important. And they list here Medicare, Medicaid, private insurance, state, local insurance. So certain states like Massachusetts, for example, they have their own Affordable Care Act within the state, whereas like other states use the Affordable Care Act. Sometimes Medicaid, Medicare fall under the states, like, and then other times they're private. It all really depends on the state and then like where the client is. Like, did they get their injury before the age of 21? Then they're covered. And what was their injury? Then it's this insurance. Then like if they were over the age of 21 and they live in they were born in one state and they live in another, like then it changes. So you do have to know that stuff, especially if you're going to do private practice. So for that, they actually have a certification program. I have it written down. I do writing for insurance companies. That's how I know this stuff. So it's called Fellow Life Management Institution. They have a bunch of courses. That's just level 1. I'll leave it in the description below. And maybe I'll put the other one in there, the E-Pass, which is where you can track the client's information and plan, how to structure their sessions. But anyway, both programs you do have to pay for. But for the Fellow Life Management Institute, you do get a certification for that. And level 1 isn't that difficult. So that's extremely good if you are looking to gain reimbursement. So I'm going to put here, no proper reimbursement. All right, moving on. We have interpersonal. That means in between people. Interprofessional collaboration. None of this is on the exam. Okay, so we're going to basic understanding of professional roles. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I spoke too soon. Understand professional roles. One thing that is on the exam is PTOT, so physical therapy, occupational therapy. Occupational therapy is helping people with everyday tasks. And then physical therapy is more mobile, like walking, exercising, lifting weights. Usually they use the same gym or the same area to work in, so it's very easy to get those two confused. You do have to know the difference in the exam. Communicate with other departments and staff for music therapy roles. Define the role of music therapy and total treatment program. Collaborate with team members for implementation. Okay, so then one thing I'm going to say here is collaborate with other team members. So we already put physical therapy, occupational therapy. Sometimes you have to work with clinical psych. Sometimes you have to work with them. And sometimes you have to work with I don't want to say occupational, what's the right word? Work. It's not, I'm just going to put sheltered work. Sometimes you have to work with the people that do, I'm blanking on the name, but it's like when they train them to work again. Sometimes you have to work with them. Not every facility has, work unit coordination. That's what it's called. Work unit coordinators. And then most importantly is speech therapy, as we know. So in terms of speech therapy, I'm going to go through, have them written up there. We have aphasia, which is when You cannot express yourself through communication. Aphasia is a cognitive linguistical issue. Cognitive linguistical. Next one we have is dysphagia, and that's when you have difficulty swallowing. Okay, and that's physical or motor issue. Then we have apraxia, and that's issues in motor planning. So that falls under the motor programming category. And then last but not least, we have dysarthria, which is when there's a group of neurological issues that cause speech issues. And that falls under neuromotor execution. So something to note about these, that yes, these are all vocab words, but it is important for you to know all of them and where they fall. So aphasia is when you cannot express yourself through speech, and that's a cognitive linguistical issue. So that's when it's the part in your brain that is responsible for speech, usually injured. Okay, then dysphagia is when the muscles are injured and you can't swallow. Dysphagia often happens to a lot of people in the hospital when they get sore throats. Okay, so that has nothing to do with your brain at all. That is all muscle. Dysphagia, muscle. Apraxia. So like apraxia and ataxia, they both have the axia at the end, and that's when there's issues planning, issues motor planning. So apraxia is obviously issues motor planning in your mouth. So that's motor planning. Like you think of the words to say, can't get them out. Causes a lot of frustration, let me tell you. I had my wisdom teeth out and I couldn't talk. I had all of these issues. So, and it was very frustrating. Last one is dysarthria, and that's a group of neurological issues that cause speech issues, neuromotor execution. And that's obviously in the brain. There's a lot of issues that are happening in the brain, and they're responding through a speech issue. Okay, for the speech ones, note to everybody out there, okay, no speech therapist undergrad like actually knows these terms, or actually like it doesn't sink in until they're at the graduate level. Okay, like just to let everybody know. So if you struggle with these vocab words, I know I certainly did. I had to learn medical terminology for, because I work in a hospital. So like when I learned medical terminology, that's when these actually sunk in. For the speech therapy majors, most of them, it didn't sink in until they were at a graduate level. Okay, like, so if this is hard for you, do not be alarmed. Another thing I'm going to say, actually I have them here. When I was studying for the exam, went to the speech therapy department at my job, and they gave me all of these lovely pamphlets. They gave me, this one is dysphagia in service. This one's what is dysphagia. And then they have here how to learn all of the speech disorders in 3 easy steps. So I actually got these all from the speech therapy department, and I told them straight up, like, I'm studying for this exam. I got no idea. And they gave me all of these. I mean, one of them was an in-service, so it was a meeting that I got to go to. But yeah, reach out to your resources. If you already have a job, or even if you intern somewhere and they had a speech therapist, ask them for sure. All right, supervision and administration. This section should totally be bigger because, like, there were a lot of questions on it. We have 2 more sections to go, by the way, and then we're finished with the basic competencies, so I'm just going to power through here. Okay, so we have participate in many forms of supervision, maintain music therapy equipment and supplies, perform administrative duties, write proposals. So most important thing for you to remember is to participate in peer and clinical supervision, and then stay active in writing proposals. All right, last but not least is research methods. I tried really hard to get a job as a music therapy researcher. Unfortunately, there's really no money in it. I mean, there's no money in like scientific research. Just to let everybody know, if you're a biology, chemistry, physics major and you're trying to work in a research lab, there's not really much money in that either. So don't like feel bad as a music therapist if you don't get paid for research. Nobody really does. All right, unless you're like a primary, a PI, principal investigator. Okay, research methods. So we have go through professional literature, no duh. Use knowledge of quantitative and qualitative discussions, and then perform your own data-based research. All right, look at that. We finished. Yay. Oh, wait, sorry, I have one more. Almost done. Use the best available research. Oh, no duh. So use quantitative, qualitative discussions. Use Journal of Music Therapy and Music Therapy Perspectives. And of course, they always post stuff on the AMTA's website also in terms of research articles. And there's so many music therapy blogs out there. Check them out for research as well. Research in a more user-friendly way. All right, we're done. Yay! We finished the basic competencies. So to make your studying a little bit better, so we finished the basic competencies. Next is going to be the advanced competencies. Then we go through the study guide. That's not going to take that long based on what we already went through. And then, of course, we have our questions. Now, I have a million questions to go through. But I'm not going to go through all of them, of course. We're just going to go through the hardest ones. And then I think the last bit is going to be the vocab. In terms of vocab, though, like there's so many medical terminology vocab sheets you can use. Obviously, Quizlet's a good resource. So I'm going to spend most of our time on the competencies, the questions, and what's in the exam. Okay, so we only have 3 more sections to go to. We could totally do this. You got this, guys. You've got this. You are going to ace that exam. And we are going to save the world one note at a time. All right, I'll see you guys. Bye. Love you. Bye.